Anyway, enough bullying you into subscribing. We're talking about Summer House. Hi, you guys. Welcome to That Lady Heather, Reality in Resin. What am I here doing today? I'm picking foxgloves because look, I'm in a field of foxgloves and my studio hasn't arrived yet. So until my studio comes and I can film inside, I'm going to be filming outside. And I might just film outside a little bit here and there because I live in such a beautiful place, and why not? I want to show it to you guys. Inside's boring. Although inside will give me a lot more freedom for like when I want to film and stuff like that. So I think it'll be a little bit of both. Plus I live in the rainforest. So there's definitely going to be a lot of rainy days on this journey. Anyway, what are we doing today? I want to talk about Paige. I can't believe Paige is leaving Summer House. And I know that it's weird to be doing a recap on a show, like the final episode of a show. I mean, it's the reunion episode, part 2. It's not even, part 1 of the reunion. I'm not even doing both reunions. But Paige announced that she was leaving yesterday. I watched the extended reunion. I have to cover it. I also watched the Next Generation New York, so I'll be covering that in a separate video. And I'm covering Below Deck. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to cover Summer House because I know the people. I have a lot of opinions and I'm new to YouTube. I'm here to talk about Summer House. Let's see. Let's get our notes in order. I'm all the way at the back of my note page. Let's see. Carl being a lemur. Carl's teeth. Turner and Lindsay. Oh my God, we're going to talk about it all. We're going to talk about it all. Narcissist. That could be about any of them. Let's see. Okay, here we are. We begin at the beginning. It's very strange to be watching TV shows that you always watch, and this time you watch them a million times and take notes. But I love it. I'm having so much fun doing this, you guys, and this is my 3rd video. That's not a short video. The rest have been shorts, and I really love my shorts. Anyway, so here, we're talking about Summer House, Season 9, Episode 17, Part 2 of the reunion. And of course, it starts off with Previously On, so we get to all the flashbacks. The set is a bedroom set, which I love. I thought it looked really pretty and really comfy. I don't know. I hear some chitter chatter about the set design, but I liked it. I don't know. I'm really worried that like a snake or something is going to come out. I'm sitting on everything itchy. Maybe that's another good reason why I can't wait till my set gets here. But I do think this background is gorgeous. And look there's like mountains behind us. And last time deer came, so you never know what's going to come. There's also a cougar on the island, so you really never know what's going to come. Hopefully the cougar doesn't come. Let me know if you see a cougar behind me. I don't know how you're going to tell me, but it would be great if you could. I need to be live streaming. Oh, here's what I have to tell you guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you've gotten this far, it would be great if you could subscribe to my channel. YouTube won't let me go live until I have at least 50 subscribers, and I think I'm sitting at 23 right now. So I would love for some of you more to subscribe. It would be amazing. I really want to live stream, so I need at least 50 subscribers to do that, and I'm at 23. It's also free to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. Somebody yesterday, they thought it cost them something. It doesn't cost you anything. You don't even really have to watch, although I appreciate that you are watching, or if you do watch, I really appreciate it. You guys, my studio can't come soon enough. This stupid tripod, it sucks so bad. It fell over while I'm trying to film. So let me reset. I don't know where I'm going to go. I don't know how I'm going to reset. I hate this tripod. Look at it. It falls over all the time. Like, what's the point of having a tripod if it's just going to fall over all the time? Look at these foxgloves. I don't know if you understand, but like I'm standing and this foxglove is up to here on me. And I'm like 5'7", 5'8". Look how tall they are. Anyway, I got to go back to all my stuff. Hold on. I'll be back and we'll talk about Summer House in 1 second. Once I reset up. Okie dokie. So let's talk about Summer House. And yeah, I'm covering the very last episode of Summer House because I know the people and because Paige is leaving and I'm devastated. I love Paige. But let's be honest. What's happening, Bravo? Is Paige, Amanda, Ciara all living in New York City? Ooh, I should mention, I'm also covering the Next Generation New York. Um, that'll be in a separate video. But Next Generation New York needs to meet up with all of the girls from Summer House. Or, even better, all of the girls of Summer House need to meet up with the Real Housewives of New York, the new Real Housewives of New York, and put a cast together out of those guys. That would be amazing. I'd love to watch that. I'd love to watch Jenna Lyons and Paige together. Like, who doesn't want to see that? Amanda and Aaron. I feel like that's a great combo. So hopefully Bravo's working on it. We have heard that Roni is canceled, but I've also heard Andy Cohen said they're filming and casting right now. So you never really know what to believe. And that ending at Summer House where they're at Lindsay's apartment and they're all doing shots of breast milk, there's no way this isn't going to roll into another show. And even when Paige quit, she wrote in her message, her goodbye message, that we're not done seeing her. And I don't think she just means Giggly Squad. So I have a feeling Bravo has more in store for us. And I also have a feeling it might be announced at BravoCon. Do you guys think it's going to be announced at BravoCon? This morning I had tickets in my cart twice, not just once, twice. And you only had 30 seconds to put your payment in. I had to make a change in my payment and it wasn't the right screen to do it in. And I got booted out. And then I went into the right screen, updated my payment, managed to get in there again after refreshing a million times. And it timed out again. So I don't know. I guess there was just a ton of people trying to buy tickets, or the system is kind of shitty. I don't know what it is, but now I'm on the wait list and apparently they'll send the charge through and you get an email. So now I've been checking my email nonstop. So I need to live without this anxiety. If Bravo could just announce there's no more tickets, that would be great. So, but in the meantime, I'm trying to get some somewhere, anywhere. I know the 1 day sale goes on Friday, so maybe I'll get some through that. I wasn't really looking to spend that kind of money, though, to spend the amount of money for going 3 separate days. I think it's going to be probably twice as much as an already expensive 3 day. Oh, I just touched my microphone again. I got to remember. I'm just hanging out with you guys. I don't even really think about the microphone. Anyway, back to Summer House. That's my little BravoCon rant for the day. So they showed previously on Summer House. It's season 9, episode 17, part 2 of the reunion. And they start off with showing the previously on, as they always do. They talk about the bed set, which I loved. I thought it looked really pretty. I've heard some rumblings about the set. One thing I want to know is, are we still in COVID rules? These sets seems to be like everybody's sitting really far apart. On the Housewives, I feel like it could be partially wardrobe because some of those gowns that the ladies wear are abundant, at least. But Summer House doesn't really seem like that, and they're still sitting really far apart. So who knows? But those are my comments on the set. Other than that, I really like the set. So I don't know what people are complaining about. We talk about West not talking again. I really loved West season 1. And West this season, this was the most boring West season. Like, why was he even there? Other than we all loved him so much last year. So I look forward to seeing West maybe next year. I mean, who knows what's even going to happen with Summer House now? Like, is Lindsay going to come back with a baby? I don't think so. That seems weird. Anyway, we'll get into it. But my thoughts on West are, I really want to see West, but I want to see West of season 1. I don't want to see West like sitting in a corner too afraid to speak. That's boring. These people need to realize, like, just don't care. Just don't care about what we all think. I know it's easier said than done, but it ruins the show when you care too much, as Lindsay points out later on. Anyway, so we go over West not talking and the West and Ciara drama, Will they or won't they be friends? I'm pretty sure they will be friends because they're both really cool people and they both know. I mean, West is starting to realize what being on a reality TV show is, and Ciara knows. So, and Ciara's really sweet and she's super forgiving. She holds people to a standard, but that doesn't mean that like she's going to treat you like crap forever. She's just not going to let you get away with crap in the moment. Like, you can't ongoingly treat her like a piece of shit and have her not say anything. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So I definitely think they're friends. I don't think she's going to hold a grudge forever. We'll see. I mean, she could. But I also don't think it was that serious. Like, it was like 3 weeks in summer house. Big whoop. And then you went and met her parents. Or I get that backwards. She met his parents. I think that's no big deal either. You know, maybe a little bit of mixed signals. And we all wanted them to work. I think they'd still make a great couple. But whatever. If you're new to a reality TV show and you've got all these girls in your DMs and like public appearances where people are swooning over you, even though Ciara is like amazing, beautiful, all the things, if you're young and like a bunch of people are giving you that kind of attention, unless you're really, really ready for a relationship, it's too new to him. He wasn't going to settle down with Ciara. I bet next season he could settle down to Ciara once he's had 3 years under his belt, a couple BravoCons. Then the Ciara thing could happen. It was too new. I mean, look at Kyle. We'll get into it, but I feel like part of the Kyle and Amanda dynamic is Kyle's a party boy. He wants to have kids, but he doesn't want to do any of the work involved in having kids other than making money because he wants to go party. Everybody on the show has a little bit of an alcohol problem, and they all talk to Carl about the only guy that's going through sobriety, the only guy who's trying to be sober. And they're all up telling him how he should navigate his sobriety. In the meantime, these people don't know how to navigate their life being wasted, never mind being sober. So I don't think they need to be giving Carl advice. I think everybody needs to maybe look in the mirror a little bit. Anyway, and I'll talk about that more later too. So will they or won't they be friends? Who knows? I think yes. If the show continues and Ciara and West are both on it, I think yes. And I think all of this awkward tension will go away. And when you start talking, okay, so now we get into the Lexi and Jessie drama. I'm Team Lexi, but I also think I would rather watch Jessie on TV. I'm bored of it all. I don't really want to talk about Jessie and Lexi and their, 2-week love affair. It sucked up the whole season. It's all we talked about, and it was dumb. And it was kind of dumb from day one. And it prevented Lexi from having a relationship with any of the other female cast. And it sort of left the summer house with kind of nowhere to go because do we want to see Lexi come back? And she was our new person. Lindsay's pregnant. We need new blood. And Lexi spent her entire time talking to Jessie, and the other guy spent his entire time having an orgy. We don't really know about him either, other than he likes to bang broads. I don't care about that. You do you. I have no judgment, but like, I don't really care if you're, attractive to women and you're good with the ladies. This is not why I'm watching the show. Congratulations, but also it would be nice to get to know your personality in addition to the fact that you like to, get laid. I'm all for getting laid, but, it's nice to know you first too. I also think we'd run a bit of a disservice to Emerald because I think he's an interesting person with probably more to say than just, I like getting laid. But we'll never know. And instead we got to talk about Jessie and Lexi all season long. So that's fun. What are my notes? She's annoying. I like Jessie way better. I mean, she's Canadian, so I should like her way better. It's not that I don't like her. We just never got to really get to know her. And all we got was her like nitpicking Jessie and Jessie being a total like two-faced jerk. And he was a two-faced jerk. He was totally throwing her under the bus. She's 100% right about what she thought went down, but it doesn't make her interesting to watch on TV. So the other thing about Bravo is they really, they find interesting people to watch, but they love Peter Pan man, especially on the shows with the younger cast members. Like Summer House loves a Peter Pan man. Southern Charm is like notorious for a Peter Pan man. And I'm kind of over it. I don't want to watch all of these women who are being super successful and going places and having their act together. And if they have a problem, they treat it maturely and have conversations and hug it out and all the things. And then you have these guys that like refuse to grow up. Carl, who I like the most, got sober and is doing great. But like Lindsay wasn't wrong when she said he didn't get a job. I'm sure that like they do the same kind of stuff, but also I bet she was doing way more of it. So I don't know. I appreciate that Carl's sober though, and I think that a lot more people on this show could stand a little sobriety, a journey in sobriety. Might do them some favors. Kyle, I'm looking at you. I think Amanda's also looking at you, Kyle. I mean, if you want to be like a partying, drinking, liquor guy, do that. Lean into that. This is your life and you get to choose it. Or the alternative is you can have a lovely marriage with Amanda and babies and all the things that you claim to want. You can't party so much. I mean, it really comes down to that. Sorry. They love a Peter Pan man, and they always give the Peter Pan men the hero edit, and the women have to fight for their own hero edit. But I think the problem is we watch it. We watch these shows and we also love all these men. Like Jesse was totally 100% at fault, but he's got charisma and he's got way more charisma than Lexi. So even though Jesse was at fault and kind of was a jerk, I'm way more looking forward to see him on my screens than I am her because she was boring. She might be right, but she's boring. Oh my gosh. So then they get into the birthday post where Ciara and Jessie didn't go to Lexi's birthday party. They went out with the two of them instead. Whatever. It's a little light shade. Who cares? I don't think you and Ciara are that close. And Ciara said that she doesn't go to her own close friends' birthdays. So why would she be going to yours? And also, the fans loved it. We want to see this. This is what we're in it for, Lexi. You got to get on board. Get a little shady. Bring the drama. If you're coming back, my God, which you probably are, because who else is going to be there? You got to bring it, girl. Don't start dating somebody in the first 2 seconds just because you need a security blanket. Okay, so Lindsay made a really good point. We go back to her. She makes a really good point about them caring too much about other people's perceptions, which I do agree. But I have to say, like when Jessie is sitting there telling people that, Lexi is being all jealous and stuff like that, like, how are you not going to care? I definitely think that it might have been a mistake to care, but I also think that it would be impossible not to care. I will also say when you're on a reality TV show and you're getting all the, comments and whatnot from us, I feel like that would be pretty hard to not care about too. So I have compassion for both of you in this situation. But I do think that Lindsay's point was excellent. And it's also nice to see that Lindsay she can look at another couple's situation with such insight, but she can't self-reflect or diddly. So I thought that was funny. Or maybe she's grown up, maybe Lindsay becoming a mom is a real change. Maybe she has grown up. Maybe she isn't. I mean, she got a really good edit this season. So I'd like to believe it's true. Maybe it is. Oh my God. And then Kyle, Lindsay makes this great point. And then Kyle, he's so narcissistic. He can't even help himself. Can't even help himself for 1 second. He's got to mansplain the whole thing, try and take the credit. Andy jumps in. The girls jump in, they shut him down, thank God. But like, Kyle, you need to learn how to save yourself from yourself. Like, know what you're about to do. It doesn't have to be about you all the time. Narcissistic people, just take a deep breath. When you find yourself in a situation and you're making something about you that isn't, just stop. Just stop for like 1 second. Say it to yourself in your head before you say it out loud. Anyway, I feel like Kyle will never do this. Maybe sober Kyle would though. Oh my gosh, I have in brackets, why is Amanda with him? I'm very much team lady. I mean, Kyle, we've seen you since the beginning. I really like you as a person. I think you're a nice guy and all the rest. I love the ladies. I love the women, and I want them to be with guys who treat them well. I'm pretty sure that Kyle is out DJing, partying, doing all the things, and she's home trying to not be living like a 25-year-old at 40 something. It would be great if he could get on board with that. As much as I like Kyle, it's like, it sucks to see these women tied down by these dudes, and he works hard, so he thinks he's somehow better than her. Is he really working hard? I question it. I do. I question it. When you're out clubbing and partying all night long, you might be at the office for a long time, and it helps that you're the boss, but I imagine your employees, I would love to know what they think. What do the employees of lover boy say? Is he working that hard? Okay, so then they go to the bathroom break. Everybody has a chance to go to the bathroom, and Lexi apologizes to Ciara and tries to make amends with her. Ciara can be cold, and this is what we saw here, in my opinion. I'm also from Canada. I have no judgment. I love Ciara. And Jessie is complaining, I think, to Kyle now, and he still totally doesn't understand his involvement in how him and Lexi went down. But also, who cares? I always go back to I don't care about them. And everybody's trying to tell Lexi that, like, they were friends with her anyway. You know, nobody wants to be mean to Lexi. I just don't think anybody really cared about Lexi. She was off with this guy that she just met, and she was into that, and that's what her summer was. Paige was occupied with her own stuff with Craig. Everybody else has their own life. Nobody is going to go out of their way to, like, get to know Lexi and handhold her through this experience when she's glommed on to some guy. They all gave her really good advice. They all told her not to get into the relationship, not to stay in the relationship, and then to leave the relationship. She stuck through it all. She's talking about Jessie taking no accountability. Where's your accountability, Lexi? Like, the road goes both ways, girl. So Lexi's crying. She's really trying to, like, look for somebody to coddle her a little bit. It doesn't really happen. Amanda does the best she can by saying she feels, like, sad that she's sad. Anyway, it gets awkward. They come back. We talk about Lindsay being pregnant and how she announced to the house that she was pregnant, and that was cool. And Jessie was bummed about her being pregnant, and everybody was giving Jessie a hard time. But I gotta say, again, I'm on Team Jessie. What are we doing here? This is a summer house. These people come to this summer and party and drink and, like, have parties. You have a pregnant chick coming. That harshes the vibe. It's it's not personal, Lindsay. It's about, like, mixing pregnant ladies with booze. It's no fun. And partying with pregnant ladies. Like, that's why you don't see pregnant ladies at the club. And if you do see them at the club, we all judge the pregnant ladies at the club. So I'm, again, Team Jessie. It's not about you and your baby and him being bummed that you're, like, moving on with your life and still trying to live in summer house. He's bummed that he wants to party all summer long and there's a pregnant chick instead of a hot chick in the other room. Not that she's not hot. I mean, she's still hot while pregnant, but, like, you know what I mean. And then we get Carl's reaction, and of course, Carl, he's become so self-aware. I mean, you can tell somebody's gone through therapy the right way. The difference between Carl and Jax in terms of, like, taking accountability and the way they speak about things, you can tell when therapy's working and when getting sober is working for somebody and when it's just BS. And sorry, Jax, I'm looking at you. It's, like, just BS. And shout out to Craig. Craig, for the Southern Charm reunion, when he was trying to say that he's sober and he has a problem with Adderall and all that, in that scene that we saw him talking about the Adderall, like, cut to the beach, he's wasted with champagne bottles under his seat. I'm sorry, you're either sober or you're not sober. I can get behind California sober, but if you're sitting there, like, doing lines of, like, blow, and then you stop that, but you're still chugging back bottles of champagne, you haven't solved your problem. I'm sorry, you haven't. You've just, like, moved it down the road a little bit. And now you're also, Craig, God, you're so cringy. You're trying to take the credit of a sober person while you're wasted. Look at what Carl's gone through trying to be sober. You can see it in his face. It's not easy. And it's a real deal for him. And there Craig is trying to take, trying to be the same kind of guy and get the sober credit or the sober edit. And it's just not true. It's just not true. I mean, the fact that Craig is a liar comes out so much in this episode. And I'm 100% Team Paige. I keep falling down this hill. I wonder if if something comes behind me. It'd be crazy. Okay, so I would be bummed at Lindsay being pregnant. Carl versus Jax. Oh, then we show Gabby being mean to Carl about his teeth, which is really kind of an upsetting part. First of all, Gabby, I feel like we got to do something with you. We need to either get to know you better or you need to go. You're basically there just being, like, an asshole to people for no real reason. Like, you don't even really think the thing about the teeth. You were just trying to support Lindsay. You can support people without being mean to other people. Just so you know, there are many ways to support your friends without throwing somebody else under the bus, especially when it's going to be on national TV. I mean, if you're in a private convo with your friends and you start throwing people under the bus, it's still kind of shitty, to be honest. It's not the greatest thing, but it's also a little bit more understandable. This is going on national TV for the whole world to see, and you're making fun of the guy's teeth who's had his teeth made fun of for the last ever since he's been on Summer House. And it sounds like even before. And he's trying to get sober. Being sober on Summer House with everybody wasted all around you acting like assholes, and you're trying to come in sober with self-awareness and treat people with integrity and compassion. This is not an easy job, Gabby. Be nicer. And also start bringing your own stuff to the table. I barely know your name. I had to write it down, and I watched Summer House like since day one. I watched Summer House when Kyle and Stassi were in the hot tub before it even began, and she was wearing that white bathing suit that came up to here. I love that white bathing suit. Kyle made fun of her in that white bathing suit, but I loved it. I think there's deer. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Gabby and Carl's teeth. We go through flashbacks of Carl's teeth. And then we ask if Carl and Lindsay are missing their friendship. And I think they both kind of are. It sounds like Lindsay isn't there yet, but Carl is there because Carl has the emotional maturity to admit it. I think Lindsay's there too. And I also think, at least I'll give Lindsay the credit that she deserves for going up to Carl, sorry, and like, you know, being compassionate to him on the day that the anniversary of his brother's death. I think that is a sign of humanity and being a kind soul. And I know that Lindsay has it in there. I like her for a reason. And that was a moment. That was one moment that was really like awesome and great to see. And so I hope, they've been friends for a long time. And like, how many people have been on this journey from going from not famous to famous and living in this environment, and they know all the same people? It would be a real shame if they couldn't salvage some kind of a friendship from this. I get that it won't happen right away. That's normal. It would be weird if it did. But, it's nice to have those friendships. You'll appreciate it when you're older if you hold on to friendships like that. But also, you can't start a new relationship if you have your ex-boyfriend hanging around. It just doesn't work. But they had a nice exchange, and it was nice to see. It sounds like Turner and Lindsay are not together anymore. They're together every other way, but like having sex by the sounds of it. They act like a couple. Nobody's being with anybody else. They sleep over at each other's houses, but they don't sleep together. Whatever. I have no judgment. It might be a really good thing. You guys have a lot on your plate. You need to learn how to co-parent. You're living separately. Sounds like the public versus private thing is a real deal, and that makes all the sense in the world to me, especially when they talk about the baby and like, do you show the baby? Do you not show the baby? And like, I've been listening to Andy Cohen for a long time, and I know that he goes through all that kind of struggle of when to show Ben, for how long to show Ben. Now we only see the back of Ben's head, and then we don't see Ben at all. And like, it's got to be a real struggle. So maybe it's good. Maybe it's a sign of maturity that they're not together and they're just taking the parenting thing one step at a time. Baby Gemma, that's the baby. That's exciting. And honestly, I'm team protect that baby. I also see like, but we're also watching Next Generation New York right now. And Gia has been all these kids. They're basically Nepo babies that have been given a future of reality TV show because we've seen them grow up. They're not nice people. They're not that nice to watch. Yet here they are with careers. So I don't know. I mean, maybe there's something for being lucky enough to be born into a family that is famous and taking advantage of that too. So, I mean, if I'm torn on public, not public, and it's not even my life, I can only imagine how Lindsay and Turner feel. And she said once she's Lindsay from Summer House, she's always Lindsay from Summer House, whether she's making the paycheck from Summer House or not. When you're walking down the street, I live in Vancouver. We have the Real Housewives of Vancouver that was like 10 years ago. And it wasn't very popular. I think it lasted maybe a season or two. Still, whenever I see a Real Housewives of Vancouver, I always think there's a Real Housewife of Vancouver. There's no getting away from it. And it's not just me as being a housewife fan. I live in a tiny town and I hear the chatter of the other people too. So there really isn't any getting away from it. I totally get that. So Lindsay, I'm on your side on this one. It's hard. Take your time. There's no rush. Focus on that baby. That's the only thing that matters. So then we go to Carl and we start talking about Carl's summer and how he was giving Lemur energy and the girl that he tried to date. And I don't know. I think we all should give Carl a break. Yeah, that girl was weird. Whatever. Carl's going through struggles right now. It's hard to find somebody in this social setting that's going to match with Carl. Everybody is young, wants to party, wants to drink, all the things. Carl's not there. Carl needs to learn that like these aren't his people anymore. He needs to go find sober people or a sober bar and like really be sober. Talk like find artists, find, there's tons of other people out there that are sober. You don't have to be trying to make drunk people act like sober people. It's fine. So I'm not going to spend any time throwing Carl under the bus. I think that, he's a good guy. He's doing his best. I think he's had a lot of trauma. And I think that the reality TV show experience is probably pretty hard and he's doing the best he can. And so far, you know what? As long as you're trying, that's really all that matters. Again, I look at Kyle and I look at Jax from Vanderpump. These guys claim to be trying, and none of them really seem like they are. They're going to things and they're telling us about it. To me, it just seems to be all for getting more attention, where Carl seems to actually be trying to get his life together. We make Carl apologize for one more thing during this moment. I don't even know what it is, because he talked about Lindsay conceiving her daughter in his apartment. I don't know why we always have to make Carl apologize for stuff. Big frippin' deal. You know the number of things that Lindsay has done to Carl that she has never apologized for? Can't we just let one thing go, Andy? But I guess if we let one thing go, Carl wouldn't have a story. So, and I want him to get paid. So apologize, Carl. That's what you're here for. You're here to apologize and make amends and be dragged over the coals endlessly. So then Andy moves on to Kyle and Amanda. And the quote is, their marriage seems healthier than ever. Their marriage seems healthier than ever. I couldn't disagree more. I think before Amanda, I think their marriage seems calmer than ever. I don't know that they're fighting as much as they used to be. That doesn't mean they're healthy. I think Amanda's slowly giving up. I think she said she's had one foot out the door. I think she's more than one foot out the door. I'm predicting they break up soon. That's my prediction. And we talk about Kyle and Amanda and whether they're having a baby. And she says she's not suited to take on anything more. And I think at the time she probably wasn't, because she was probably going through depression. And I think it's also awesome that she talks about her concerns with having kids while going through, like, if you're already a depressed person and then you get pregnant and you know what postpartum depression is, and you know how that can affect people. And if you're female, you probably know people who have gone through it. It's a real thing, and it is something to be concerned of. And it's nothing that, I mean, Kyle says that he's concerned, which was nice to hear. When you're not actually the one that's living with it, I don't know that you can relate to it as much. It's like, do I really want to walk through this pit of fire right now if I don't have to? Or if I do walk through this pit of fire, is my partner going to be with me, or is he going to be at the club DJing? Because right now I feel like Kyle is at the club DJing, and Amanda wants somebody to walk through the fire with her, because it's pretty scary stuff that they're talking about. So I can totally understand why Amanda isn't ready to take on a baby all by herself, because that's what it feels like to her. So Andy talks about why they're not fighting as much, and the fact that Kyle hasn't done anything wrong this year, or hasn't done as much this year that's wrong. And they talk about they had a big conversation going into Summer House. It sounds like their relationship is really on the rocks. They had a big conversation going to Summer House, setting boundaries, and it sounds like Kyle lived up to the boundaries. But I mean, when you're in a relationship with an alcoholic who likes to party and wants to be a DJ, and you're an introvert who wants to, make something of yourself, designing bathing suits or doing whatever it is, even just having tea and coffee with your dogs, it's not partying. She's going to be alone with this baby a lot. And I don't blame her for not wanting to. When she says that Kyle isn't ready to have a baby, I think she's right on point. I don't know that Kyle's ready to have a wife. And I kind of think Amanda's feeling the same way. I can see Amanda and Kyle. My prediction is Kyle and Amanda, they're going to break up soon. And I don't really want that to happen. I like both of them. But unless major changes happen, and by major changes, I mean, unless Kyle gets sober, I really don't see them being happy together. Amanda might stick with him and kind of be doing the same thing that she's doing now. I mean, this kind of stuff can last forever. People can lose their whole lives waiting for somebody else to change or realize what's going on or be in the relationship with them. It definitely sounds like since day one, Kyle has not really been in this relationship with Amanda. He blames her all the time for not being in the relationship with him. But when you're out partying and there's other women around, you're not in this relationship with her. And she feels it. She's depressed probably a little because of it, because she's alone all the time. And she's trying to make this thing work with the wrong person. How much happier would she be if she was with somebody who was walking the dog along with her, or having a cup of tea along with her, or telling her that she's amazing at like bathing suits designs? The best thing that ever happened to Amanda is meeting Paige, because I think Paige brings that to her. And their friendship is awesome, and it's so nice to see. It's so nice to see the friendship between Paige, Amanda, and Ciara. And that's why we want them to be the new Real Housewives of New York. Hook up with Paige and Jenna Lyons would be amazing together. I think Amanda and Aaron would be amazing together. Ciara doesn't even need anybody to be amazing. Not that the other two do, but she'll find her niche. It'll be awesome to watch them in the city. I want to see them out at like doing stuff, and I want to see New York City. So Kyle starts saying that he's doing everything he's doing to build their future, and Amanda's saying, well, the future won't be there if you aren't here ever. And Kyle, really, he's 42. Your future is happening right now. You're in your future. This is the future. You got to live for now, buddy. You can't be working and partying and doing all these things, DJing. It's also, I call bullshit. He is living for now. This idea that he's working towards the future stuff, it just sounds good. He's living for now. If he was living for the future, he would be building a future with Amanda together. He would be spending time with her. He would be repairing their relationship. They would be doing things together. They would both be getting on board with having a baby if that's what they want. This idea that like she's home by herself all the time, like, Amanda, girl, you are worth so much more than this. You don't need to be at home waiting for this guy to stop DJing for you to get, no, run. That's what I say, Amanda, run. And I like Kyle, I really do. But like, unless he's willing to grow up and be a decent guy, you're going to be sitting at home forever waiting for him to stop partying and stop DJing and stop probably with the other women. I mean, let's face it, we all know what goes on at these clubs. And these guys have women chasing them around down the street. So the temptation is huge, especially if you're pissed off at your wife. Like, it just doesn't bode well for relationships. So, Kyle conning himself into believing, or fooling himself into believing, that everything he's doing is for the relationship and for the future, I'm not buying. And I think Amanda is starting to not buy either. She's really getting over it. So she wants him to sell Loverboy, and I don't know that he's going to do that. We'll see what happens with them. Oh my God. Finally, then we talk about Paige and Craig. Let's talk about Paige and Craig. That's what we're here for. Watch it. Oh, so, okay. Or let me start this again. Oh my God, it's so hard to sit on this hill. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh my God, that's so much better. Why didn't I do that all along? It's so much better. And now it's getting windy, so you're about to blow over. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about Paige and Craig. Finally, we're talking about Paige and Craig. So okay, we're talking about Paige and Craig. Okay. So finally, we're going to talk about Paige and Craig. Enough with Amanda and Kyle, although Kyle is all over this Paige situation. So I guess Kyle started Loverboy with an iced tea spritz, and then Craig decided to work with some other brand of alcohol spritz and is also doing an iced tea spritz. But it was like 7 years later. Kyle's pissed off anyway. Don't blow. I can kind of see why Kyle's pissed off, because he's taking it really personally, but also like, there are a million cocktail brands out there. We're talking about the most saturated market, the alcohol market. And now those little coolers to go, the different cocktail mixed drinks, they're everywhere. You're not competing just with Craig. And I don't think Craig is going to like make or break Loverboy. I hate to tell you. I know it's a shared market, like all of us Bravo fans. I touched the mic again. All of us Bravo fans. I mean, I want to buy Loverboy before I want to buy anything else because of Kyle. But that's not who you're selling to only. I mean, you got to sell to the people who also like iced tea cocktails. And I think that there are enough iced tea cocktails that you just have to have the best iced tea cocktail and not worry about Craig. Plus, if you think Craig is such a liar and not good at what he does, he's not going to be around long anyway. I mean, that's what competition is all about. You win, and then the competition goes away. So just focus on winning, Kyle. But in the meantime, poor Paige has to have fights with Kyle and defend Craig and blah, blah, blah. Her ex-boyfriend, she's never going to say his name again. Love that part. Very Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Very Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. So Kyle, it sounds like Kyle was in the right and he apologized to Craig. It's kind of hard to tell right now because Paige isn't going to defend Craig. So there's nobody defending Craig. So you're really only getting Kyle's side. But I mean, Craig is the guy who said that he didn't lie on Bravo, and then we clipped to a montage of all the lies that Craig has told on Bravo. So I'm not likely to believe Craig in this one. I'm likely to believe Kyle. Plus, Kyle, he's a decent person. He said he apologized. I'm sure that he did. Craig had the freak out at Amanda and Kyle's wedding and didn't even apologize to the parents, which is mortifying. So I can't believe, like, if he's not going to apologize to Amanda's parents for being an entitled brat, throwing things around, wasted, he's not going to apologize to Kyle. Sorry. So it sounds like Craig is just a spoiled brat and an asshole. And I'm not surprised, really. I mean, Southern Charm, have you watched Southern Charm? They all kind of come across like that. Rich, spoiled babies. Wait till you watch New York City Next Generation. Holy moly. Talk about rich, spoiled babies. I love Bravo, but man, we definitely have our fair share of rich, spoiled babies. Wouldn't it be awesome if Bravo brought back, remember the Real World, which were like regular people in New York City trying to make a go of things instead of New York City Next Generation? I mean, I love Gia and all of these people because I've watched them grow up. I want to see people hustling. I want to see people, making the New York experience. I don't want to see a bunch of people who everything has been handed to on a silver platter just go to different photo shoots. It's boring. Sorry, it's boring. The most interesting girl on that Housewife or on the New York Next Generation is the one we don't know, and it's because she's like into cool events and doesn't wash her hands. All the ones that we know are so uptight and rigid, and we don't really get to know them because they're so familiar with this world. They're edited. They're like self-edited. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Craig is just like all of the rest of them, and he is an entitled, spoiled baby. And you can see none of us are surprised by that because you can see flashes of that in Southern Charm. I mean, on Southern Charm, he's probably the least spoiled one, so it seems like maybe he's not spoiled and entitled because compared to Shep and Austin, and not even Austin. I feel like Craig is more entitled and whatever than Austin. Shep is the worst. By far the worst. Anyway, we're talking about Summer House. So yeah, I'm totally Team Paige, 100% Team Paige. Kyle apologizes to Craig, whatever. And then Kyle says, I can't with this guy. And everybody laughs because it's a white boy reply. Meh, whatever. I might cut this part out of the video even. Kyle talks about how him and Paige make up, which is really nice, and that she put a post somewhere that was like Team Lover Boy, and he gets all choked up about that, and that's nice. I do like when Paige and Kyle get along. I also like when they fight because Paige tells them what's up, for real. But it's nice when everybody gets along, and we like these people. I mean, part of the reason why I feel like I can say negative things about them is because I like them. I see them as full, complete people, good, bad, whatever. And I like them anyway. And I really want good things for all of them anyway. Whether I want all of them to be happy and successful, whether I seem like I like them or not, I want that for all of them. So, because you get to know them, we didn't get to know Lexi. That's too bad. I still want good things for her though. Daniel leaked the story about Craig. Danielle. So Paige starts to talk about last reunion episode and how she was mad and defending Craig against Danielle and Lindsay. But it was because Danielle leaked the story about Craig acting like a jerk at Amanda and Kyle's wedding. She wasn't defending Craig from acting like a jerk. There was a nuance of Danielle leaking it to the press. So because she was able to have that nuance, she was able to defend Craig. If Danielle didn't leak it to the press and they just had to talk about it, I'm not sure how Paige would have handled that. And Paige talks about, would you defend your boyfriends in the future, or would you handle anything differently? And she basically says no, because he was my boyfriend. And this is what you do when you're in a relationship, which is true. This is what you do when you're in a relationship. But I have to wonder, you know, this is what you do when you're in a relationship. But how many times did Craig have to defend Paige? How many times was Craig put in a situation where he needed to diffuse it for Paige so people could, still think cool things about Paige and avoid conflicts with Paige? Probably zero. The worst thing I heard was Miss Patricia calling Paige a bitch, or she acted like a bitch. Or maybe Paige called Patricia a bitch. I don't know. But that's not a big deal. That's not having to explain and lie. Like Paige was put into this situation where she felt like she had to sort of lie for Craig all the time. And Paige isn't a liar. And I just have to say, I don't think Paige ever put Craig in a situation like that. I don't see it ever happening. So I'm 100% Team Paige, 0% Team Craig. This has been Reality and Resin with Heather. I'm going to go pick all these foxgloves now. I'm very excited, and I'm going to dry them. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. I'm trying to get to 50 subscribers so I can go live. So please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to make a YouTube thing. The next show I will be covering is New York City Next Generation. That's it for Summer House. I know I've only covered one Summer House episode, but I'll be back again with more episodes of anything that Paige is on. If Summer House comes back, I'll definitely cover Summer House again. And I look forward to seeing you soon. I'm from my island. I'm going to go pick foxgloves now. I missed one thing. Everybody takes a shot of Lindsay's breast milk, but it's not her breast milk. I think I covered it all. I feel like I've been talking for an hour, you guys. And I can't move. I'm going to the beach now. After I pick these flowers, I'm going to the beach. And following. This is Lady Heather. That Lady Heather.